If you feel like you're grinding and you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, ask yourself, well, what is the intention? What do you want to get out of this? You have to be intentional. Even the book I'm reading, The One Thing, it's like, what is the one thing you want? It don't have to be 5 things, but what's the one result you want to get?
To what Yanni was saying, how she was working from 9 a.m. to 12, you can't just keep going back and forth. You're not going to get the same result. You're not able to take a day off to reflect and see, what did I learn? What went differently? Did I make enough money from the last day? You don't have time to reflect when you're in hustle culture. It's just, you got to grind and you got to move quickly.
If you're about to enter that season where you are about to be doing all this work and you are about to be slacking on your self-care, you should at least be leaving that season with some type of fruit. You should be leaving with some type of visible growth. You know that you didn't do that season right if you exit it and you're still in the same place. You know, what was the point of you draining yourself, tiring yourself out, doing all of this work just to still be in the same place?
Y'all. Welcome back to Growing Painz podcast, where we talk about business and the life of a young adult. You heard me.
Period.
I'm 20 and I'm Tre'Vion.
Not the age. I'm Jada.
How old you is?
I'm 25. I'm 25.
I'm fine, like wine.
How old you is?
I'm Yanni, and I'm 21. I just turned.
Grown.
All right, y'all. So today, what we getting into? Before we actually get into the topic, we're gonna start off with our hot topic, where we talk about trending topics growing in the world. I don't even know if that's our saying.
We started right off with the hot.
Should we not?
Right off with the hot?
Should we not?
Hot pockets.
We can. Let's try it. Something new.
So what hot topics where we talk about hot topics in today's society.
Period.
And you have that topic.
The hot topic is, what are you deserving of?
Yeah.
The reason we are talking about this is because we could be so hard on ourselves, and this kind of goes into what the overall topic of the episode is, but this is just the fluff of the conversation. Jada.
I literally pushed this away so you can't.
And you don't think they can hear that?
They can.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
We are sorry.
They can hear because of y'all. They wouldn't even be able to hear it.
Bruh, they probably thought somebody bust their butt.
Zell, can you hear?
Exactly. Mike, right next to you.
I did this.
For the audio listeners, Jada is blowing her nose.
As always.
As not always.
Anyway. So, hot topic is, what are you deserving of? And what I mean by that, we could be so hard on ourselves as people to constantly feel as though we got to be here, we got to be there in order to feel as though we are evolving. But every day we are evolving. Yeah. Who you were 2 days ago may not be the same person you were today. And the reason I say that is because things grow in increments. Mm-hmm. Nothing just grows like that overnight. And if it does, it's stimulated. That chicken that you had where the thighs look like it was mad strong, it's because they put a little steroids in it.
Definitely.
That muscle at the, what is the thing
vein?
Called? Huh?
The vein?
No, I'm talking about the muscle. Like when people be doing the workout, like they be big.
Weights?
Like
that's steroids.
Steroids, yeah, that's steroids. Yeah. Like when they be doing the body competitions and stuff like that.
Genetically modified.
Yeah, so
chickens be genetically.
When you are on steroids, of course you're gonna get instant results, but are them results gonna last?
I was on steroids.
Jada.
Really?
Jeez.
Mm-hmm.
For what?
My asthma. It helped my lungs expand. You guys, what you want to say, Trey?
No, steroids. They just help. They speed up the process. But when you have natural organic growth, you're able to grow thoroughly. You're able to evolve thoroughly.
Something though.
And so, how do you determine what are you deserving of?
What are you deserving? Can you explain the question?
So, for example, when you're working out and you're trying to reach your weight goal, In some cases, you may feel as though I can't have no treats, I can't eat how I want or anything because you may say I can't eat how I want or anything because I have to get to this weight goal. Not realizing that you're pulling everything away instead of giving yourself little bits of rewards. As long as you're being consistent, that's what matters most.
Right.
For example, I get so hard on myself when I don't wake up on time or when I don't wake up at the time that I desire. But what am I deserving of? Am I deserving of sleep? Am I deserving of not getting no rest? Or sometimes, this is what I was going to the steroid topic is a lot of times you don't base your judgment, or you may be too critical or you may not be critical enough. And what I mean by that is sometimes you may say, okay, I need to go on a budget, right? And you're buying takeout every single day just because you feel as though I worked hard, I deserve it. But it's like, did you actually work hard, or did you just get tired and you wanted to reward yourself before you actually did the work? So that's what I mean by what do you deserve now? When do you know you should be rewarding yourself in a season? And when do you know you should be, be more reserved from what you are rewarding yourself with? You understand what I'm saying? Or is it complicated?
No, I get it.
I have a culture example to put into that. So Nicki Minaj, she feels like she deserves like a certain type of praise. She feels like she's put in the work and all of that for all the, I guess, rap girlies to like treat her a certain way. Like look at her, look up to her in a certain way, put her on some type of pedestal. And so would that be like a good example that kind of aligns with like...
That's a perfect example because I feel as though, to that point, I feel as though, yes, Nicki Minaj has did a ton of work. But has she shown the love to people? And I don't know, it's kind of a touchy it's a touchy subject.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because she has been, had to deal with a bunch in the industry and be the only woman to last for 10 plus years through multiple decades. And so I can understand why in some cases she don't want to just immediately give people what they want as far as give an artist a feature and give them that blessing to be on their record. So yeah, it's like, yes, she's deserving, but when you are like fighting for it and you're like, attacking people or being angry about it, it's like, okay, does that still make you deserving, or is it now like you're forcefully trying to get what you deserve? Real quick. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Tap in,
twin. Take a 5-second break and go subscribe.
Exactly. We got so much on our channel, y'all. We got vlogs, we got challenges, we got silent library, we got everything. So what are you doing? Go subscribe right now.
What are you doing?
Go
subscribe.
Go stand on business.
Stand on business, yeah.
Let's get back into the episode.
Decades. And so I can understand why in some cases she don't want to just immediately give people what they want as far as give an artist a feature and give them that blessing to be on their record. So yeah, it's like, yes, she's deserving, but when you are like fighting for it and you're like, attacking people or being angry about it, it's like, okay, does that still make you deserving, or is it now like you're forcefully trying to get what you deserve?
Yeah, I think.
Am I making sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay.
I think in that point, I don't think it's deserving if you're in Nicki's case. Because she's almost trying to demand a certain type of respect.
I agree.
Demanding a certain reward, I guess, instead of like just allow who does look at you that way, allow those people to look at you in that way, and the people who don't.
Yeah, that's why I even see people on TikTok saying like, "You're Nicki Minaj," and this one girl said it. I seen her on going at another person, like talking down on somebody. But she was saying in this case, she was like, Nicki Minaj doesn't understand that she's Nicki Minaj. And Nicki Minaj just started going off in the comments, and people were like, this is exactly what she's talking about.
Yeah.
Like, why are you attacking her because she said,
Yeah.
So in that case, that makes sense. But What's your perspective?
I was gonna say, even like in the clothing brand industry, it's a lot of people that want to take shortcuts, want to figure out how they can quickly do this, how they can sell out, how they can do this. But it's like you have to do the work first so that you can learn and have that foundation so that when you do get what you want quickly, it stays. Like you said, where you're deserving of. If you want to sell out your first job, are you staying up all night researching? Are you putting in the work on your website? Are you making sure your website looks clean? Are you making sure your design is good? Are you making sure that customer service is good? Are you making sure that, it's like all this other stuff. So it's like, yes, we do want and we feel like we deserve one thing, but our actions have to align with that. Because if you truly feel like you deserve this, then why don't you have it? Because if you were aligned, you would have got there already. But you're not aligned. When you're aligned, your decisions would lead you to what you feel like you deserve. But the reason you don't have it is because you're not doing the work to get there. Or if you are, it's just not your time yet,
Yeah, for sure. Even like you said, timing, that is what gets you the reward. Even for me, I used to get so mad about, why I'm not getting paid enough, or why I'm not, getting retainer clients and all of this stuff. But I wasn't aligning myself. I wasn't doing the work that I deserved or that I needed to in order to get what I deserved, which was higher pay. I was working with all of these content creators with big names and people have big brands and stuff. And I was thinking, why am I not getting paid enough? Why are people going to the next person and paying them more and they're doing less work or they're showing less effort or passion about it? But it was like, you're not deserving of it because you're not doing what you need to be doing in order to get there. And even for myself, just as far as the gym, there should be no reason you're going to the gym or you missed a day. This is a perfect example. You miss a day at the gym. You're not supposed to be eating out. But because you had a stressful day, you think, let me go get something to eat. Let me buy this, this takeout. And it's like you didn't deserve it because you didn't go to the gym. So if the main thing was to put work in the gym and you didn't put the work in for that day, why do you think you're deserving to earn that reward to get that meal and enjoy that meal? And not saying that you should restrict yourself, but at the same time, you have to have balance. And that's where it comes with self-control. Because a huge factor for me as I started to get older, I used to dislike when my mom or certain people set boundaries in my life. Like, oh, no, we're not going out to eat. Maybe on Friday, you'll go out to eat once you have a good week in school or something. I used to hate stuff like that. So when I got older, I started to, I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm going to eat out every day. I'm going to buy this, everything that I want. And then I started to realize you have to have some more self-control and deserve it, the reward, before you get it, not just because, I want it or I feel like I want it. And that goes with Nicki Minaj, that goes with the clothing brand, that goes with me with graphic design. We could want these things, but are you deserving of receiving it? And if you're not, then you're not in alignment just yet.
Period.
Yeah. So
That's good.
that's a good, I like that perspective with the whole Nicki Minaj thing, because she's been going crazy on Megan Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
For a couple days.
I've seen it on TikTok.
Crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. So the next thing that we're getting into is the actual topic.
Yeah.
The topic of this episode. I was gonna say of the week. This episode.
I mean, technically, it is the week.
Yeah.
For sure.
Grind culture.
Grind culture.
How do y'all feel about grind culture? Work. No days off. No this. No that. Just work. What is y'all perspective on that? Y'all experience?
Sometimes it's necessary for a small season. I don't think that's a permanent thing. Sometimes you really do have to go through seasons where you're putting in that work. Everything is not always going to be like just so easy. Like, imagine when Bill Gates or Steve Jobs, I don't know which one of them, have a picture of them building up their company like in a garage before it was even a thing. Yeah, but it's just like they were putting in that work. You're putting in hours. You're putting in sweat. You're putting in tears. You're pulling all-nighter after all-nighter after all-nighter. You're putting in that sweat equity. I think that's how I've heard people call it, And sometimes it is necessary. Sometimes if you're deciding that you're just going to start your business in a balanced way and you're just going to, I'm going to work on my business. Like, say you have a job and you're like, I'm going to just work on my business one day a week. until it grows into something. It's going to take a long, long, long time to get to a really successful place. But going through that small season or however long season of just grind, like, for example, when I worked at UPS is like my last job before going full time.
Mm-hmm.
I was working from like 11 o'clock, sometimes midnight, to 8 or 9 in the morning. Go home, take a nap for a few hours. Around 12 to 2 or sometime in between those times, my interns would come over. They would help me with my brand. They would stay till 6 o'clock. I would eat dinner, all of that stuff. Get ready to go to bed at like 8 o'clock, maybe 9. Then wake back up again at like 10, 11 o'clock. And I did this for a couple months. I was working so much. But during that season, it was necessary. I can say the same when I went through my season of Instacarting or Ubering all day and then coming home and immediately sewing. It was hard. It was a lot, but it was necessary for that season because it allowed me to build some type of work ethic. Some people out here don't be having no work ethic because they never spent any time to grind. But I don't think grind culture or that hustle culture is good for a long period of time. You're a human at the end of the day. You're going to drain yourself out. But for a season, I definitely think it's okay.
Yeah, I believe that the lines get blurred between hustle culture and work ethic. And some people align them to be, oh, if you don't hustle all day, every day, you don't take no days off, then you don't got no work ethic. You're lazy. You're this, you're that. But as you said, Jada, I don't believe that that's a season to last in forever. Because if you believe it's going to last forever, you may get through a couple months grinding all day, every day long. But it's going to get to a point in time when your mind just starts slowing down. Your body starts slowing down and you need rest. Or you may start getting sick. You may be having to blow your nose and cough. But
not the shade.
Right.
So it's just with hustle culture, it's really not, it's cool, but at the same time, it's not like it doesn't allow for longevity. It's not I'm trying to find the right words. You can't like sustain it forever.
Yeah.
And I've been in hustle culture believing, oh yeah, I'm grinding. But really, I was burning myself out. Really, you need rest in order to be able to operate in your business, in order for your mind to function and keep going. You can't operate with your brain halfway gone because you're sleepy or your head is feeling, you're having a migraines or, your eyes is burning while you're tired. It's not a good feeling. I haven't seen people, this is one post, I don't know who it was from, but it just scares me every time because I was younger and they had posted on social media like they were in the studio. They were a music artist. They were like, I've been in the studio for 4 days, no shower, not brushing my teeth, nothing. And I forget who it was, but everybody was like, what? Because that's nasty. It's like,
that scared you?
Yes, it scared me because like I never want to get to that point where I'm just funky. Like you ain't washed your behind. You ain't doodling those couple times.
Yeah, that's
it's just, I don't know. Hustle culture is not really the wave anymore. I feel as though when you pay attention to the big dogs or people who's really operating in their excellence, they're getting rest. They're making sure that they're able to operate for their business in order to show up every day. And not even just their business, but for their lives.
Yeah.
And everything that you do is going to flow and bleed into all different areas. So when you're tired, you can only give a good 10% of your business. Then, when you have family time, you just give little percentages of what you can actually get. Whereas when you're more well rested and able to function, you're able to give bigger percentages in life. You're able to give a more well-rounded experience of yourself to each and every aspect that you have to contribute in. So I believe that hustle culture just simply isn't the wave, only for certain seasons.
Yeah. Well,
I was gonna say I feel the same way. Like I've had my seasons, so it's seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's some seasons you're going to have to grind it out.
Yeah.
But then saying like, okay, I'm not going to have no fun until like I get this age. I'm just gonna work all the time. I don't want to do like that can burn you out, right? And so I was even thinking about how, you know, different seasons you have to hustle. And I was like, even thinking for us, when we first started, we were here at 7 a.m., 8 a.m.
Yeah.
making 3 episodes of a day. Well, it wasn't a day, but
It was back to back.
It was back to
Yeah.
back, right? And even for me, I would drive back and forth, North Carolina, Atlanta, 6-hour drive, going back midnight, driving back and forth because I had to do it in that season, right?
Yeah.
But those seasons do propel you forward because like all that work I put in, now I'm out here in Atlanta still in the podcast. So it's like, what if I said, nah, that's gonna take a lot of work. I don't want to, right? Then I wouldn't be where I am now. But the thing is learning. Okay, this is the season where I'm grinding it out. Like it's been times where I said, like for last year, like around October and November, I told myself I don't want to go to no like no fun things. Like I just want to focus, and it was because I was locking in. So there's gonna be some seasons where you want to just lock in, and I think that's okay. But when you get in a season where you're just working, bro, I talk about it all the time, but burnout is real.
Yeah.
And then you start wondering why you're not showing up as the best version of yourself in your work anymore. You start wondering why your buckets aren't being as full. Like you start wondering why you're not making as much anymore. You start wondering why your content isn't doing as well anymore. It's because you're just working. Like, gotta take that break. You know, even Jesus, he would go to the mountain and take breaks. He was God. He took breaks. You know, even the Bible calls us to take the 7th day to take a break, the Sabbath, you know? So I don't think God instilled in us to just work, because that can burn you out. But I searched up what is hustle culture, right? And it says hustle culture, also known as burnout culture, centers around the idea that working long hours and sacrificing self-care are required in order to succeed. The promise is that if you give work all of your attention, you can achieve anything and everything. So how do y'all feel about that?
Hustle culture is burnout culture. Is that what they said?
Yeah. And they said like it's sacrificing self-care in order to succeed.
I can agree with that.
I was going to say for hustle culture, you're not at your best for real. You're really just, you sacrifice a lot.
You on a hamster wheel for real.
Yeah, you're on a hamster wheel. Yeah, you sacrifice a lot. You may not. I know sometimes when I hustled and I ain't got no cut, no nothing, I'm just out here woofing. And those be the times when you really are locked in and you get some stuff done, but it's just not gonna be able to. Hustle culture's burnout. You're gonna need to be able to reset your mind. Exactly. And also with hustle culture, you tap out with everything else in the world because you're not focused on that. You're focused on whatever that goal is, and you gotta hustle to get there. And I feel as though with anything, you have to be able to tap in, experience new things and different things like that. That's why I believe with us shooting a podcast, that's why I had asked, are we able to, you know, take some breaks in between of shooting episodes? Because I started to realize even with, you know, artists writing music and stuff, they don't just write a song every single day. They got to travel. They got to learn some things. And that's why with us being able to take those breaks for the podcast, it gives us time to grow. It gives us time to go through new things. And that's why even when I say about friendships and all of that stuff, I don't want to talk to you every day because every day something like things are always evolving, but every day there's not big, drastic evolving moments. Sometimes it's small little growth of seeds being planted over time, and that's where the growth happens. So that's why I believe with hustle culture, you don't get to take breaks. You don't get to tap in with what's going on in the world. And there's a lot of great stuff going out in the world, but if you're not experiencing it, you won't know.
That's real. And even those breaks, it's like those small breaks will boost you to be 10 times more productive. Like those times where we do take a week off and I'll like go back home or just experience life. And we come back, we feel better. We feel more like motivated, you know? And so those breaks, I feel like it does recharge you. Because that's why I even told myself a goal I want to have this year is to start going to museums more and being around art. Like, that's me taking a break and recharging myself, you know, so that way I can show up better in my art. Because how is my art going to improve if I'm not stepping away, seeing how I can improve it, and then coming back?
Yeah.
Then I'm just doing the same thing, wondering why it's not growing. It's because you haven't experienced, learned, took a break, so you can come back with new information and grow that art more, you know?
Hey y'all, what's up? I know you're enjoying the episode, but real quick, we wanted to take a second to talk to y'all.
Hey, pull out your phones right now and text the word GPCREW to the number down below. Let's get it.
Go do that right now. You're going to get updates about new drops, events, and so much more.
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Now let me get back behind the camera. Let's get it.
That part. I think also it depends, or what your grind looks like matters, right? So is your grind starting 10 businesses and you trying to work on all of those? Or is your grind going hard on one thing? Is your grind trying to, let's say, do 3-a-day workouts every day for like a few days, or one workout a day for a week? Like, are you trying to do a lot of things that really aren't super productive, or are you trying to do a lot but with the intention being focused on one thing that actually is productive, you know? So I feel like what your grind looks like matters, because I know people, I remember when I worked at UPS, there was a girl I worked with. If you watch this, hey, I don't know if you do or not,
Hey, girl.
but she did a lot, and I don't say this as a bad thing, but she did a lot. She sold lip glosses. She was a rapper, a singer, a life coach. She sold plates at UPS. She's also a UPS worker. Like, she would bring like bags with plates of food in it to sell at UPS. She did nails. She did hair. She did a lot of things, and I feel like that's hustle culture to the max. Like, she just felt like, I gotta put in that work.
Yeah.
But it's like, you put in that work in so many different areas, it's really productive. So I think if you're going to be in this season of grinding or like hustling, and like we said earlier, for a season, it's like it doesn't matter what actual type of work that you're doing. Like for example, with Zell, say he worked at the job with the forklift. He was grinding during that time, but it was also for a season. If he would have just been like, oh, I got to keep putting in this work at this forklift job, where was that really going to get him to? And so it was like, that was for a season. And I feel like if you are doing the right work while you are in those grind and hustle seasons, when you come out of that season, you should have been propelled to like a higher level, not feeling like, oh, well, now I got to go to something new because I really didn't move anywhere. Like, I didn't go up anywhere. I'm still in the same situation. And so I feel like there are like rules to grinding. You know, if you're about to enter that season where you are about to be doing all this work and you are about to be slacking on your self-care, you should at least be leaving that season with some type of fruit. Like, you should be leaving with some type of visible growth, some type of visible progress. But you know that you didn't do that season right if you exited and you're still in the same place, you know? Because what was the point of you draining yourself, tiring yourself out, doing all of this work just to still be in the same place?
Yeah, that reminds me of Vlogmas for my business, Words Made It. Every time, for 2 years back, because I started my business in 2020, 2021 and 2022, Vlogmas was something that was intense. And that's what I believe hustle culture does. It intensifies everything. I was hustling to get this thing. And how you said with Zell being on the forklift and stuff, you're hustling, but for him, it was for a season. But if he didn't receive any fruits of his labor, then that just would have been hustle culture all the way. And for me, with graphics, I was hustling to like, I don't know what I was hustling for it. Like I didn't have no work because hustle culture doesn't allow you to have any work-life balance, and not that balance will forever just like be the straight line, but it don't allow you to go see friends and family. It don't allow you to get the proper rest and, you know, be able to be well rested. And what I learned, I didn't see much fruits of my labor once I got out of Vlogmas those 2 years because I didn't set no goal. I didn't get clear. I didn't take time for myself. It was just, I literally was going to sleep with the laptop on my lap. And when I woke up, laptop back in my face again. Like, it was just no time to think about anything else, no time to do anything else. And for 2023, that was the best year of Vlogmas that I could have ever had. I didn't stress. I didn't have to do no refunds. I actually tripled what I made the last 2 years. And so it was like, bro, this is what I want. Like I was hustling, but I received some fruits from my labor from the hustle because I was clear on what I wanted. And I also realized that I have to still take time for me in those seasons. I can't just, grind, because you're just running and you're going to run until you hit a wall. Once you hit that wall, that's it. Now you got to build yourself back up. But when I finished Vlogmas this year, I didn't have to build myself back up. I didn't have to restore my energy. I was able to get through January with the same energy that I left with in December.
Period.
And so I'm able to get through February with the same energy that I left through with in January. And so now I'm just realizing that things are a lot less stressful because I'm making sure that I'm putting myself first. I'm not putting myself, I'm not deflecting on, I can't journal today because I got to do this order. No, this order can wait because it's going to still be here.
That's good.
And I'm going to communicate, hey, I'm doing something for myself right now. I can't do this for you.
Bro.
Or you, like, we can work out this time. I'm not about to sit here and just jump as soon as the order is sent to me. So I believe that hustle culture has allowed me to bump my head, like we talked about in the previous episode.
Yeah, that's real. And something I was thinking when you were talking is even how, like, we are the input to our output. So if we are not feeding us, then the output will not be what we want it to be in our minds.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's like, if we want to, we have to show up. Like I was saying earlier, that break allows us to show up better. And even what you were saying on how, like, seasons and what is your intention on that hustle, that grind season. For me, I had nights, I was doing DoorDash from 9 a.m. to midnight, trying to make enough just to buy blanks for one day. Next day, I'm doing DoorDash from 9 a.m. to midnight so I can have enough to heat press the vinyl, grinding it out. Now, if I would have still be doing that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
If I was still doing that now, I would be burnt out. And if I had no fruits of my labor, something would have been wrong. Something would have been wrong. If I'm still saying, I got to do this so I can make this happen, or I'm still upset that nobody bought when I dropped, there's something I'm doing that's not making the output what I want happen. And so if you feel like you're grinding, and you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, check yourself. Ask yourself, I'm sorry. If you feel like you're in that hustle and grind season and you feel like you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, ask yourself, well, what is the intention? What do I want to come out of this grind season? Because it's okay to lock in. It's okay. Like, there's going to be seasons, but what do you want to get out of this? You have to be intentional. Even the book I'm reading, The One Thing, it's like, what is the one thing you want? It don't have to be 5 things, but what's the one result you want to get? Put your mind to it, grind. And once you get that, allow yourself to take a break. Don't keep chasing the next thing. I grind, I got this. Okay, let me grind some more. No, take that break.
Nah, for sure. Definitely got to take the break. And just realize that everything that you're fighting for is going to still be there. And the reason I say that is because I realized before I was grinding, I got to be here, I got to be there. And I realized I used to think that I can't pull away from my business because I had to be there. But the seed was already planted. People already were networking with me and stuff. So once I got to that point, I was able to stop, but I didn't realize that until then. So to what Yanni was saying, how she was working from 9 a.m. to 12, it's like you can't just keep going back and forth. If you're not going to get the same result, you're not able to take a day off to reflect and see, okay, from that 9 to 12 p.m., I meant to 12 a.m., you said?
Yeah,
from that
midnight.
9 to 12 a.m., what did I learn? What went differently? Did I make enough money from the last day? You don't have time to reflect when you're in hustle culture. It's just you got to grind and you got to move quickly. But just pacing yourself allows you to be able to get where you need to be. So
That's real.
yeah.
All right. Well, that was a good episode. We're going to get into our last segment.
Yes.
Make it make sense, where we give advice to young adults going through life. Jada got a topic. She got a cough real quick. Hold on.
Ooh.
We're sorry, y'all.
We have a few questions, but we're gonna do one. Yanni said 3. Are you cool with that?
We're doing all 3?
No,
the
Yanni
third
said
one.
do the third question.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Tristan, hold on now.
All right. So the question says, how do I stand up to my parent if they keep disrespecting me, even if I'm an adult now?
I like that. Look at
Yeah,
me acting like I ain't read it.
Right? Like, I never heard the question this good
You gotta
before.
put your big boy pants on, your big girl panties on, and pull them junks up and tell them, Ma, Dad, I ain't playing with you no more. I'm an adult. We'll really throw hands if you really want smoke. You feel me?
Yeah.
Tell them don't play with me.
Exactly.
Don't play with it.
No, I think sometimes it can be kind of hard to like stand up to a parent.
Yeah. You can actually do an episode on that.
Yeah, especially like in your early 20s, because you're transitioning from like teenager to adult.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, if you feel like you have a parent that isn't treating you right, it's like kind of hard to be like, well, I don't like when you do this, so it's just me standing up to you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, you really have to like develop that strength to be able to do that for real, for real.
And boundaries.
Yeah.
Boundaries is key. So okay, I know I don't like talking about this, or I don't like when you communicate this way. I don't like when you talk to me this way. I don't like when you say this thing. That's a boundary, communicating it. And if they disrespect it, you're a grown adult now. So it's like, yes, they're still your parent, but at the same time, that doesn't give them an excuse to disrespect you.
Yeah.
Because if anything, they should be loving you. So if they're disrespecting you, they're coming from the wrong heart posture, which means you have to correct that and have your boundary.
Yeah, for sure. And I believe that the way you address your parents is not about what exactly you're saying. It's about the tone that you're saying it in. And so you may want to, burst out and like have an explosion and yell at them and tell them about themselves. But sometimes you just have to be able to communicate in a way that they can hear you. And that can be hard sometimes because there's there's parents where they just don't want to hear anything you have to say. And that goes back to what Yanni said about setting boundaries. If you can't be an adult, because we both are adults, and yes, you're my parent, yes, I respect you, yes, I love you, and yes, I'm going to always, be respectful, but I don't have to tolerate how you treat me, because how you treat me is not effective for me to be able to progress in the world. It's not going to allow me to have friendships and relationships in life that are healthy, because your parents are the root of what relationships look like for you. So you have to be able to stand up for yourself and know that, like,
that's good.
Keep reminding them, this is what it is. You can't disrespect me in this way. I'm not going to tolerate the way that you treat me. If they talk over you while you're speaking, you address it. You let them know, hey, I let you speak. Now, can you let me get what I have to say out of how I feel? Don't just keep tolerating it and taking it on the chin, because they're only going to do what you allow. And so you just have to pace yourself and give yourself that grace to know, like, this is what I want for my life. This is what is uncomfortable for me. Don't be in a space where you're making people comfortable, but you're uncomfortable yourself.
Yeah.
So forever, just continue to address it, continue to reiterate your boundaries, continue to have standards for your life, and just pay attention to the tone, because sometimes that could what can get your parents to not listen when you attack them.
That's real. And I feel like something that may help on you more focusing on how you say instead of what you say is giving grace, because parents, when they disrespect, I've realized 9 times out of 10 it's a generational thing.
Yep.
And it was something that they had to deal with. They may be speaking
Yep.
out of hurt. They may be speaking out of pain. They may be speaking out of trauma. And so I feel like it, still communicate, your boundary on how you feel and stuff like that, but also not attacking them, because then it's just going to become an argument instead of a conversation that can lead somewhere,
Yeah.
So having grace also, because that's something I learned with my relationships with like, the adults and like, my like relatives and stuff like that is they had their stuff too. I don't know what they've been through specifically, but I like, I know like there's some things that's generational. There's some things that they have experienced. And so that allows me to have grace.
Yeah,
Because it's like, it makes you not take it as personal anymore,
Yeah.
That's good. Y'all honestly hit it all the nail on the head. Honestly, I think that boundaries is the biggest part for sure. Is you have to just say, this is what I do not like, so don't do it. And if they decide not to respect those boundaries, then it's up to you on how you react. I heard someone once say, you can't change people, meaning you can't change how people act or change how people treat you, but you decide how you want to react to it. Like, you decide what you accept, you decide what you allow. So even though you can't change that person's behavior, you let them know this is the standard. And if they still go against that and they continue to do that thing, then it's up to you to separate yourself, not keep waiting on them to change. And so I heard that before, and I thought that was like really, really good advice. But people learn from your actions.
Yeah, for sure.
So if someone sees that, oh, dang, my child stopped talking to me because I did this to them, they're going to be like, if they really care about you, they're going to be like, dang, that really sucks.
Yeah.
I do want to have that close relationship with my child. Maybe I do need to think about how I treat them. So that way we can still have that close relationship.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that with parents, it can be an emotional roller coaster, and everybody's circumstances is different. Sometimes you may feel as though you don't have that power because you live with them, or they may be still paying your bills.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Stuff like that. It all depends on the dynamic, but you know your situation, so you have to address it accordingly. One thing that I seen that I have like saved in my phone before is it says don't let someone's emotional inconsistency make you addicted to temporary highs and constant lows. And so the reason why I feel like that's a good phrase to sum it up, because relationships with parents can be highs and lows. And really what I think the reason why you may be bumping heads with a parent is because no one is listening. And that's the main thing. Y'all may be yelling about something, but really what y'all are fussing about is like they're not hearing you and you're not hearing them.
Yeah.
And so that's why it matters with the tone and the way you address things.
That's real.
Yeah.
That was good.
Nah, for sure.
Oh, I thought you had something to say. That's why I was looking at you.
No, I'm good.
But yeah, so that was the end of this episode. We hope that made sense. Hey, stand on business. Tell your mom or your daddy, I'm not playing with you.
Standing on business.
I will hurt you. Okay, let me stop, because I don't want to get y'all in trouble.
Wait a minute now.
I don't want to have you like King, T.I. and Tiny's son, where he's like, I'm standing on business, and then he starts
Trey
getting
said
choked.
he'll slap
He's like,
you
get
out.
off me,
I
get
didn't
off
see
me.
that.
But nah, okay. So yeah, that was the end of this episode. Let them know where they can find GP Growing Painz.
First of all, make sure you subscribed if you're not already. Stream on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Growing Painz Podcast. We be doing special segments on there. And then follow us on TikTok, Growing Painz Podcast. Follow us on Instagram, Growing Painz Pod.
Yeah.
Follow me, Yanni Bratcher. Follow my brand, Wise Label.
Yeah.
Period.
And you can follow me at Royal Tre'Vion, and you can follow my creative agency at Royalty Made It. Let's get it.
And you can follow me at I am Jada Ellis and at Jael Official on Instagram. Period.
Yeah. See y'all later. We outie.